Emily.
And I'm Clark. We live on a sailboat named Temptress.
Today we're going to talk about why living on a sailboat might be the perfect solution as a prepper bug-out vehicle, and also talk about how we handle various scenarios, including COVID-19. So today we're talking about prepping. What is prepping? Prepping is kind of the ultimate extension of personal responsibility. It means that if you're in a scenario or an emergency situation where you can't rely on society or other people to take care of you, you've got what you need to take care of yourself. Accumulating things that you might need, skills, knowledge that might be useful in that situation. This might be for a pandemic, it might be for a natural disaster, maybe you just lost your job and you need to hold over until you find a new one. Lots of situations where being prepared is really a good idea.
Back in my 20s, when I was getting ready for this lifestyle, this hop on a sailboat and travel around the world and live in wild places type lifestyle, well, I was inspired and I learned an awful lot from materials I got from survivalists, what you'd call preppers today. They taught how to preserve food, how to deal with medical emergencies, generally that kind of live without the grid kind of a life. I also learned a whole lot about that kind of stuff, the food in particular, from the Mormons. The Mormons have a deal where every year they've got to have, well, all the time, they've got to have a year's worth of food in reserve. And even if you're not preparing for the zombie apocalypse, I think having a year's worth of food in reserve is a really good idea. If for no other reason, let's say you lose your job, you know your family's not going to be hungry for like an entire year. You can find the right job, not just have to take anything. It really opens up your options. So I guess as a sailor, as a cruising sailor, I'm kind of a bit of a prepper in a different way.
Being a prepper on a boat can be really handy. We and other boaters are starting to leave crowded harbors in the wake of this COVID-19 thing, try to find more isolated areas. And it's a really easy thing to do. Just pick up anchor and go.
Prepper community has this term. It's when the shit hits the fan, or SHTF. It's kind of something so they can all get together and talk about how to preserve food and do that preparation thing without having arguments. I think it's going to be a nuclear bomb. I think it's going to be a big disease pandemic, and I think it's going to be zombie apocalypse. Well, you never know what it's going to be. It would be good if you're prepared, though. I think everybody kind of agrees to that. If you didn't agree to it last month, you're probably starting to agree to it a bit now. We don't really have a hits the fan scenario, or we didn't. We just live a life that involves preparing for a long time between grocery stores, to live without power, at least not from the grid, to have food that's preserved the way so we can have the foods we like when we want them. And because we live this life, kind of by default, we're prepared for the zombie apocalypse. So we got a little something going on right now. There's this, well, pandemic is the word that's used. It's probably not going to be the end of the world, but it could be dangerous for people, especially older people. Quite possibly me. I'm at the edge of that demographic. So, you might want to defend yourself. And the way to defend yourself is getting away from people that might be carrying the disease. So you have to look at what's your way of defending. Now, if I had prepared in a way where I had a hole in my backyard that was like bomb-proof, and I went down in my bomb cellar with my food as my way of getting away from people, well, it's not the greatest life. It's going to be kind of dull down there, kind of dark. I might wait until it's really scary outside before I went down there. Us, on the other hand, all that really means to us right now is leaving a place where there's parties every night and going off to a beautiful atoll where the fish have never seen a person and enjoying that. And it's very enjoyable. Because of that, a cruiser will tend to step off into their isolation a little earlier. And that makes us all the safer.
So if you're going to be self-sufficient for an extended period of time, there's a long list of things you're going to need. You're going to need food, nutrients. You're going to want to eat food. You're going to need clean, healthy drinking water. You're going to want energy, probably, if you want lights and appliances and little necessities, if you want a computer, those sorts of things. You're going to need energy to power that. In a case of a pandemic like COVID-19, you may want isolation. So you may want a way to keep people out or keep yourself away from other people. Because you're away from other people, you may not have access to a doctor, so you may want to take some medicine with you or some basic first aid supplies so you can take care of yourself. You may also want communication and access to information, either the internet or some other way to talk to other people and get information about what's going on out in the world. You're also going to need, if you don't have everything that you need already, you're going to want some sort of currency or something that you can exchange of value so that you can trade and share resources with other people. And you're going to want to have relationships, good relationships with some other people, some allies, so that you have a community that you can rely on. And with all that taken care of, you may still want security. There may be other people that see that you are prepped and have everything that you need, and they may be appealing to them. So you want to be able to protect what you have, protect yourself. So there's probably other things to that list, but that's the basic list of what we think about when we're prepping our boat.
There's a lot of ways people prepare for bad things. Some people like dig a hole in the ground and build a bunker and hide in there or expect to hide in there when things go bad. Some people do it with a cabin in the woods. We do it with a boat, and unlike them, we kind of live in our prep vehicle all the time. It's just how we choose to live, so it's not prepping so much, it's just life. Anyway, come on down and I'll show you how we live our life.
Because we've set up our boat for multiple years of sailing, we're already pretty well set up for a variety of scenarios. Let's talk about food. There's a lot of room for food on this boat. We've got a 12 cubic foot refrigerator and freezer that's chock full of food right now. We've also got some various dehydrated foods like apples and mushrooms, different fruits and vegetables. Those we use a vacuum canner for, so those will be good for several years. Behind the stove, we've got lots of spices and oils, things that I can use to turn bland foods like beans and rice into really good meals. Over on this side, we've got a very deep compartment that houses lots of 2-liter bottles full of beans, rice, spices, textured vegetable protein, all kinds of useful dry goods. So these are here, and they're pretty much waterproof as well. We use a carbonator to change the atmosphere inside of these to carbon dioxide. That's going to preserve these, keep weevils from getting at our dry goods, etc. We've got about, I'd say, 40 of these bottles full of different stuff in here. Here behind the nav station, we've got lots of room for canned food. Behind every seating area, we've got lots of storage room and lots more shelf-stable provisions. Some of those provisions are good for 10 years. Some of our provisions are store-bought, but we've also got 100 cans of home-canned meat and lots of other things. Our forward cabin is our guest room, but we don't have guests very often, so we store a lot of stuff in here, including more food. We've got a lot of Indian food. Nice thing about this stuff is you can just put it on deck in the sun, heats it up, you can eat it. Got lots of dairy, lots of heavy cream, lots of good calories that way. We also have an Italian food department, and if we get really desperate, we've got fishing gear here as well.
Water. Humans need water. We need it for drinking, we need it for cooking, we need it for showers and cleaning and all kinds of uses. Water is really important to humans. Temptress carries 140 gallons of water, and that usually normal life gets it through 2 weeks. We could, cut back and have it last a whole lot longer. But we also have a water maker. And a water maker is a really cool device that turns the ocean water into perfectly clean fresh water for drinking and cleaning and all the other purposes we need. That water maker can make all the water we could ever use from the energy that we get from the wind and the sun. So for water, we're set.
For energy, we've got 1,200 watts of solar panels and a big wind generator that provides all the energy we need. Our oven and our stove run on propane. Obviously, we can't make our own propane, but with all the solar we've got, we can use our microwave to cook. Our local transportation uses gasoline, and we like to carry about a 5-month supply. But even if we can't get around with gas, we've got oars, or we can just sail where we want to go.
Medical supplies. And we carry a lot of medical supplies. Also, with medical supplies comes the knowledge of how to use it. And that's more than standard first aid when you live this life. It's things like how to start an IV and how to do some basic suturing, because you can't go running to the emergency room when you're out here. But even if you don't have the knowledge, having the supplies is very useful. They're trade items, but also you can make a radio call and someone can tell you how to start an IV, but they can't send you an IV.
Out here on the boat, we like to stay connected. We've got cell phones, we've got a tablet, we've got internet and a regular PC and some laptops. But in an emergency situation, if we didn't have internet or cell phone towers, we need other ways to communicate. So, we've got a VHF radio, we've got a single sideband radio, that does ham and SSB. We've also got a Pactor modem so we can send and receive emails anywhere in the world. And we've also got some handheld VHF and ham compatible radios so that we can communicate when we're outside the boat.
Isolation. Nice thing about living on a sailboat is Temptress is not only our shelter, she's our mobility, and she can take us to a lot of places on the earth where there aren't any people.
Even when we do try to isolate ourselves, it's good to remember that no man is an island. As part of a boating community, you're going to run into other boats, and it's good to know who else is on those boats, what skills and talents they might have, and how you can help each other out.
Currency and trade goods. You can't carry absolutely everything you need, so it's really handy to have some money. You can buy stuff along the way. But if either you run out of money or money has no value, if this is a prolonged deal, it's good to have things of values to others. I don't personally think gold is the way to go, but I think starters for a Yanmar is a big way to go. We carry lots and lots of spare parts, and some of these spare parts we'll need, but some of these spare parts will be enough value to someone else they can trade for what we need. And skills are trade goods as well. If you've got something you can do that other people need, they will reward you for it. So learn new skills. That's a prep. Lastly, security. You want to be able to protect the things that you prepped. Some people use guns. Some people don't like guns. You can go either way. I'm not going to talk about what we decided there. Some people bring dogs. You got to feed the dog. That's an issue. But on the other hand, I know I wouldn't rob from a guy with a big dog. The other way to look at this, though, is if you're on a boat and your shelter is also your vehicle, you can go to places where there's just no risk. You can go further away. You can be the most difficult guy to get to, and you're going to be the last one robbed.
So with COVID-19 and what's going on right now, it's the middle of March 19th. Schools are starting to shut down. We're starting to see businesses close their hours temporarily. Some countries are putting travel restrictions on. And in terms of our plan for right now, we're not doing much different than we normally would, except for maybe not hanging out with large groups of people. But we're drinking from the same water maker. We're eating our food stores. All this stuff we're already set to sort of be off-grid. So no worries for us.
If it gets much worse, and it will get worse, we have another plan. We just lift anchor here and go somewhere else. There are no cases on our island, so it's like a no-op right now. But if there's a bunch of cases on our island, we'll move to an island that has no people. No people, no cases. Thing to remember, though, with this particular disease, I'm absolutely confident within several months there's going to be an antiviral. And it's just until the day the antiviral is available, and then, then it's over. It's really over. And also, we're not protecting us in doing all this. We are just protecting us being potential vectors to hurt somebody else. We're youngish, for me. We're healthy, and we would probably just statistically not have a problem with this. It would just be like having the flu.
We just don't want to be part of spreading it to other people who are compromised from a health perspective. And the nice thing about doing this on a sailboat and not in a bomb shelter or something like that is this is the water maker we use every day. We know it works. Our solar panels, our batteries are running and powering our life right now, so we know it works. It's not a big deal for us to make the switch into prepper mode from our everyday life.
So when the hits the fan, we're going to be living comfortably right here on our boat.
I love you.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, all those things. Let other people know the video's worth watching. I would like to know how you've prepared. There's something going on now, but there always could be something. Could just lose your job. Please comment below and tell us all what you've done to get yourself ready just in case. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.